And today, what came to me full force is that we're going to concentrate on the manifestation of money. You know, we've been talking about a lot of things, opening the third eye in order to be able to visualize and see things in this world clearly, because we are really we can't see the truth. We can't see things until we really open our vision. The world is called Maya in India, which is what? This is all an illusion. But what is real, and we've been discussing this, is frequency, energy, and vibration. That is really what everything is, whether you are an intuitive or a psychic, astrologer, we're all working with energy. And when you know that this is really what matters, you have to know you can manifest and create anything in this world. And eventually what you're going to find is this world is not enough, because there's more to it than just this world, the physical manifestation. But I guess because it's the beginning of the year and these planets have been retrograde, that we are coming from the mindset of fear and lack sometimes, because you start thinking, oh, this is a new year. Do I have, is this going to be a year where I'm going to be able to manifest, be able to pay all my bills, be prosperous, be productive? And then we get this fear mongering from what? The news. Oh, it's a recession. Oh, there's not enough money to go around. But essentially, there is nothing but abundance. And when we know this, we can manifest. It's all the conditioning. And remember, we are controlled by our subconscious mind, which has been conditioned so much from the beginning of our lives, conditioning. And what we heard over and over and over again was there's not enough money. I'm muting everyone until you guys want to speak. But we have been conditioned that you can't afford this, you can't afford that, growing up as kids. I don't know, if any of you came from a different background, let me know, because that is very unusual. We've all had that conditioning. So even, I would think no matter how much prosperity your family had, we've had negative conditioning around money. Even Doris Duke, who I think her father had the tobacco industry, and one of the richest families back in the day. And of course, Duke University is named after the family. But Doris Duke was told at a young age, nobody is going to want you for anything but your money. So consequently, she went through terrible relationships. And guess what she manifested in her life? People that wanted her only for her money. It was really a sad story if you ever read about it. She actually adopted a girl at one of her houses in Hawaii. And she was, get this, she was into Vedic astrology, okay? And so she adopted a girl. The girl was from a meditation group and all of that. This was a long time ago, probably in the 20s or no, I think it was probably in the 30s and 40s. But to make a long story short, the butler and that girl ganged up against her just to get her money. So, this is what we think about, we create. And we all have negative connotations about money. And we have to look at money as wealth and prosperity, not in terms of dollar bills, because health is wealth, money is wealth. All these things enhance and give us a better life. But most of all, the holistic picture has to be that we have to come from a place where we have gratitude. This is the key focus where everything comes to fruition with manifestation. We've been talking about this for so long, but going back to the astrology, which I started out with before I started the recorder, we've all kind of felt like things have been in a holding pattern, kind of at a standstill. And it is the planetary energy. Remember, we're talking about energy, vibration, and frequency, right? And the planets are the spheres of vibration, and they affect us. This is astrology, and it's part of the holistic, scientific way that the world is all about vibration and frequency. When we totally understand this, we can understand that we are energy, we will never die, and we've never been born. We just change forms. So know that there's nothing to be afraid of and nothing to fear in the world, knowing this, that we never die and everything just changes frequency. And, you know, this is hard for us to really understand. Why? Because we're born into this world and we die from this world, but this is just a different place of vibration. It's like third, fourth vibration frequency. There's other dimensions. And yes, we are a part of it all. So even if you can't understand that, just know it. And none of us truly understand it because we're trying to understand things with the confines of a physical mind, that all of this goes way beyond that. But know simply that everything's energy. And yes, the planets speak to us and vibrate to us, and they do have a major effect on world affairs. But we're in the mindset of thinking certain planetary aspects are negative, such as retrogrades. They're not. They're just part of the evolution of the ebb and flow of cycles. And that's what we're a part of. So we have to use these cycles for what they're good for, not what, you know, thinking something's negative or bad. That's what I love to write about when I write about astrology. This is what it is. And this is the time to use this energy because this energy is good for this. And maybe it's not what you want to, you know, everyone wants to always forge forward, always thinking about moving forward. But sometimes it's time to pull back and reflect. And that's when Mercury's retrograde. It's time to think, reflect, pull back. Mercury is retrograde till the 17th of January. But it's not a time that you just discontinue living or doing anything. That's not true either. It's an important time to sort of like make your plans so that when it is time for action, you can kick in and start moving forward, action oriented. Okay, so the other aspect that's so important astrologically is Mars has been retrograde since October 30th. And Mars is our energy. We talked about that last week. I even put a video out about it. I think, Michelle, you entered, Michelle Bond, there's two Michelles here, so I'm going to say the last name too. But you mentioned, God, I'm so tired. What's going on? And Mars is energy and it's retrograde. So we're not meant to have that external force that makes us get up and go. So when things are retrograde, it's not bad. It means it's time for us to reflect about certain issues that Mars rules over. And Mars rules over issues dealing with anger. And I have to say, I've experienced a lot of old things that have surfaced since the end of last October. And what it does for you is it gives you an opportunity to see what you need to change so that you don't continue making the same mistakes in your life. So you can change and grow. Everything is constantly growing, and that's what we're here to do. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up is the picture that I chose today is very interesting along the same lines of where the planets are evolving. And here is, and these pictures are very positive, I might add. Here is the first image that I pulled up. And it looks to me, if you may not be able to see it as well as I can, but they're actually windmills in the back. So, here they are with the flowers. It's probably, when I think of tulips and flowers, I think of, Holland. But more than anything, this is a harvest. This means we've been working and it's ready and it's time for a harvest. And flowers couldn't be something more beautiful, more creative, more with color and beauty. And I was just thinking about the essence of the full moon versus the new moon. Well, the new moon is when the seed is planted, and it's actually, the moon at the time of a new moon never rises in the night sky. You don't see it because it's just that sliver, and that's that new beginning phase of a new cycle of the moon, the new moon. But when the moon comes to a full moon, that means whatever seed was planted 2 weeks prior comes to fruition. And what I think about it coming to fruition, I think about a flower blooming. And these are blooming. So you see, it's time for us to reap what we have been planting that's come to fruition and come to full bloom. And it's time for us to reap it. It's like we've been working hard. Don't kid yourself. We've been working very hard on our consciousness, our awareness, on manifestation. I don't even know how long this class has been going, but we've been focusing on manifestation, and it works. And here is where we're starting to come to a level of gathering the fruits of all of our labors. But it's something beautiful. It's not just fruit, it's flowers. And what do flowers represent to us? It doesn't provide nourishment for our body, but it is, in my opinion, eye candy that when we look at flowers, they make us happy. And that's why we send flowers. We send flowers for all different occasions to make what? People cheer up and make them happy. And that's what I see with this picture, making ourselves happy from the work that we've been doing. It's not like we have to get a fruit out of it. It's just something that brings happiness and joy to us by the beauty of it, the colors of flowers. We send flowers, sympathy flowers, when people have lost someone to cheer them up, make them happier. We send flowers for birthdays. We send flowers for Mother's Day. But it's kind of interesting because do we send flowers on Father's Day? Not really. I guess we're trying to, flowers are somehow reminiscent of something to do with the feminine. But remember this, that flowers are something that they put out a beautiful smell. It's all about manifestation of the things that are beautiful in our life. And what is beauty? Beauty is something that, we see with our eyes, the color of the flowers, the beauty, what it does for us. And what is a flower? Usually the flower, once it dies away, it does usually grow into what? A fruit. But the flower is the essence of the bloom and the beauty, and it attracts the butterflies. It has the nectar. Flowers are magnificent. They are, when you look at flowers, you got to think, what a beautiful world, that flowers and what a flower represents, the culmination of something that's so beautiful, but they don't last. They don't last. So I think that's kind of an interesting thought that we have to grasp in the moment, that things are all evolving in our world. And we have to grasp that moment of beauty. And yes, the cycle of the plant, it will die, and the seed will go back into the earth, and it will grow and rebloom. So it's kind of like, this is the time right now for all of us to reap that beautiful flower that has blossomed. And this is the time for that. Reward ourselves. Look at this. And, flowers are just magnificent. They're all different colors. They're part of nature. And we love to send flowers to each other when we want to make people happy. And that's what I see with this. So it's time to reap your own joy and happiness now. This is a new year, and this new year, even though, all sorts of crazy things are happening, I think this is going to be a groundbreaking year for all of us, because Jupiter's, eventually going to come together with Rahu and Uranus. It's just going to be a breakthrough year. Many breakthroughs are happening, and I think it's a joyful year for all of us. We're gathering the flowers, the fruits of our work, the things that make us happy, the things that we send to other people to make them happy. All holidays, we like to have flowers in our house, because if you know anything about feng shui, they say never to have fake flowers. Always to have the real thing, because in feng shui, when you have flowers in your house, it actually brings prosperity because of what they represent. So I want all of you to reward yourselves with some beautiful flowers, put them in your house, and that gives a beautiful vibration of wealth, of healing. Yes, they don't last, so what are you going to do? Get a fake flower so you can look at it all the time and it's not the real deal? No, you got to know that if something doesn't last, that just means there's renewal, and things are always being renewed. So we seize the moment of beauty and creativity and joy and beauty with the essence of what the flower symbolizes, and put those in your house. I actually have these, well, this is probably something that I always like to have, these African violets. They're so easy to grow. I always have them in my office because they always have a flower, and they're easy to care for, indoor flowers. But flowers are a symbol of prosperity and beauty and fruition. So that's what I get, my take on that side of the picture. And here is what was on the opposite side of the picture. And to me, that means, look at these sailboats. They're sailing easily, comfortably on the water. There's no storms. There's just, calm, beautiful winds that move them forward. So they're moving forward, and they're not looking back. So now it is time for us, after so long with these retrograde planets, I believe, to move forward. And another thing, whenever I see water in any of these pictures, that's the emotional body. The ocean, it's like we're all of us, we're all one, we're all drops of the ocean. But water is our emotion. So you can see that now it's time to process, let go of the past, and move forward. The retrograde planets do bring up the past. That's why you might be thinking of things in the past, especially when planets are retrograde. But the past can help teach us about what we need to know for the future. That's what it's all about. The past, the present, the future. You know what they say, there's no such thing really as time. So really, it's the now that matters. But I get that there's movement emotionally moving forward. I bet just that this is probably where the sun is going down more than, I wouldn't think that they would get out on the water that early. I would assume it's sunset, which means things are, and you know what's really weird about this picture? It looks like the waves of the water, I guess it's the computer, are moving. Do y'all see that? This looks like, it does to me. I don't know if it does to you guys, but it looks like it's moving. So this is very reminiscent of our emotional bodies coming to a completion, letting go of the past, And this will give us forward movement. There's actually, I think, a sun there, which, you know, if you think about astrology, the sun is our spirit. And we're moving forward. It's the first sailboat. The sun, the spirit, we're moving forward. I don't particularly know what that would represent. Just it's just, and it looks like a, no, it's just probably a fishing ship. Thought it was a submarine for a minute, but no, it's just, you know, everything looks so calm in this picture. Let me put it that way. And everyone's calm, the emotional body, probably the fishing ship is just, you know, it's just part of the calm. There's no problems. There's nothing for us to worry about. It's time just to move forward. All of our emotional issues that plagued us for the last 6 months are pretty much over. It's time to take those lessons and to move forward. And this is going to change our lives. And the whole issue about prosperity, which I'm going to go into, is going to is a point of manifestation that's coming for us, because from all the emotional lessons, we're now seeing the beauty within our lives, and we're able to cultivate it and choose it and pick it for our future, because we now know what it takes to have that spiritual growth and growth on all levels in our life. So with that, I always love to hear what other people saw in those pictures, because everyone has a different subconscious mind that's resonating in a different way in accordance to what these pictures could mean to them. So, and look, and it's funny because I just turned over this picture of the flowers, and it says, because of their fragility, flowers must be picked by hand and held so that the stigmas are not crumpled, or the, what's it, stigmas? Anyway, I found that kind of interesting, talking about their fragility and how flowers have to be, they can't be machine picked. So this is like the human component of with this realization of what these flowers can actually represent. Actually, and I see that it's actually these flowers, I didn't know it says, are saffron on the back of this. There's some written material about it. That's what I started looking at. But they're saffron flowers. I don't know if that helps in any way, but they say that this is this is not in Holland, in other words, but you know, other places have windmills. So, but, and they're not tulips, they're saffron. And you know, saffron is rare and it's very expensive. Did you know that an ounce of saffron costs more than gold, an ounce of gold? Yeah, so that's interesting that I turned it over and got that. So saffron is rare. And so it's something rare that we're choosing to pick and hold on to. And we have to do it ourselves. No machine can do this. And this is from our emotional hard work that we've been working on, meditating, vibrating, opening our third eye, and opening the heart, because essentially the only thing that's going to heal all of our issues is love. And coming from that place of gratitude is what opens our heart. So, okay, so dig in here, guys. What did you see that I didn't see in these pictures? How was it relative to you?
I'll say something. I agree 100% with everything you said, and I was going to add about the saffron being very expensive. So when you were talking about, it's funny with the flowers, it seems like everything's towards Venus. Like the whole description of Venus, you know, the money planet, the beauty planet, all that love part. But the other part I was going to say was the reaping what you sow, the people are bent over, and that's hard work. So it's like, you can't just, and I also wrote about the boats, go with the flow, let the universe guide you, but you also have to do the work too, so that the universe can open the door, but you have to walk through it. So you have to always be, active and doing the work that it takes, and the opportunities will show up when they show up, but you have to also be willing to do the hard work. So that bending over and being in that posture, that's tough. So that was the only thing I was going to add, but everything else was bang on exactly what I was thinking.
That's a great addition to that. Thank you, Joan. That is really great. Yeah, bending over, that kind of hard work. And then, just allowing, surrendering and, going with the flow. I love that you said that, going with the flow, but we have to do the work. And it's hard to find that middle ground where you're doing the hard work, but you're going with the flow too. But that's exactly what we need to do. You're right. Okay.
I've decided to go ahead and take my flowers out of their plastic and put them in the vase. So that's why I'm
I
off.
love it. That is so beautiful. Thank you. So you're bringing that prosperity into your house, Marcy. Yeah. So
Yes, I am. Yeah, and they've been in the vase. They've been in my sink overnight because I didn't even put them in the vase last night. But I
Yeah,
thought about them when
yeah.
I woke up. Yeah.
enjoy them. Enjoy them. They're the essence of beauty. They are. And we're going to look at Venus now that Joan said that when we go to the astrology, simply because she is so right. Flowers are ruled by Venus and beauty. Okay, good. We have some other people with their flowers. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say my fiance brought me flowers just 2 days ago. So this was next to my bed today. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Love it. Yes. Anyone else want to add anything? Have we said all there is to say about these pictures, or there's got to be something, or just validating what we're saying is you can speak to us. Nothing else to add?
Well, Joni, I wasn't going to go there. But that sailboat picture, I've seen it once before. And this darn moon dasher that I'm in, I get so emotional. But I saw it because it's a picture I pulled when I was at your house. And I was asking what my life was going to be like in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. What you pulled exactly that
Yes,
picture?
I pulled that picture.
How fascinating. Well, that's confirmation.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah. And then yesterday I was at the supermarket and this lady in front of me was buying flowers and it was this big to do. So there's something, they didn't have a price on them and she had to go get another one. And it was just like drawing my attention to.
Well, you were meant to pay attention to those flowers and what those flowers symbolize. And, people give flowers when, love and appreciation. And, I don't know why we don't give flowers to men. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of interesting that I just realized that we don't normally do that, do we?
No, but I've done it once before.
I have too.
Yeah, they don't seem to appreciate it that much, or if they do, they're too embarrassed to admit that they do.
I bet that's it.
I make bouquets for Dan in the summertime when the flowers are blooming. I put it next to the bed on his side.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
Let's get into practice of doing these things, because sometimes if you're like me, with the prosperity and the lack, that kicks in from our past subconscious mind, think, well, why am I going to buy that? It's not going to last. But that's poverty consciousness. So someone that buys flowers on a regular basis, comes from a place of prosperity. So let's start doing that, all of us, whether, get that poverty consciousness out of our mind and start knowing that if you buy flowers, you are activating a prosperity consciousness, which is what we're going to talk about. Let me see. Oh, here's my notes. I think I'll talk about the prosperity consciousness right now before we go into the astrology, and maybe the astrology will back up and validate it. So here are the things. I'm reiterating what we have always been talking about in this class, but I want you to remember these things, because how quick do we forget that what you think about, you are creating. How many times we go into those fear thoughts? You just have to stop when we do it, because we will, and stop and start thinking about what you want to create. And remember, when you say, I don't want this and I don't want that, in essence, you're thinking about it. So if you're thinking about what you don't want, you're going to start creating it. Like, I don't want, I don't want to, I'm trying to think of a good example. I don't want a bad relationship. Guess what? You're thinking about a bad relationship, that's what you create. So you always turn this around and think of things in the positive, and only think about the things you want in your life. So don't think of the negatives. Let's only think of what, and forgive yourself, because we're all going to go to those thoughts, because our mind is controlled by our subconscious, which has been developed through all of our past. So, when we least expect it, a negative experience we went through will pop in our mind. Just, just recognize it and switch it over to what you want to think about. So, I mean, you gotta just know we're just correcting our mind when we go to these thoughts. So remember this too, thoughts initiate feelings. And if you change your thoughts, you will change your feelings. So remember, if you feel good, you're going to have good thoughts. If you have bad thoughts, you're going to feel bad. So you see, the thought and the feeling essence go together. So if you're feeling bad, trust me, you're having bad thoughts. So when you continually change your thoughts to the positive, you're going to start feeling good. And remember, feeling is what manifests what you're working on and trying to do. And remember, you've got to be these things now. I think so many of us, we're all guilty of this. You think, well, when I lose weight, that's when I'm going to get the relationship. Or when I have the money, that's when I'm going to be happy. No, you're never going to have these things if you're waiting to get those things. You got to be in the present, and you got to know you have it now. That's the big difference. There's no such thing as waiting for something to get something. Doesn't work like that. You have to know in the present now you have it. And believe, you got to believe it, because remember, how many times do we make ourselves try to think of an image that we want to manifest, but deep down we really don't believe it. So you have to probably do the affirmation work till you do believe it. If it's like so hard for you to grasp and believe, just keep it up. Keep it up, don't give up, because you've got to believe it in order to have it, create it. It will happen, but you got to be in the present and believe it. And here's a saying I want you to eradicate forever in your vocabulary. Never, ever say, I can't afford it. Never. And when you're buying those flowers in the store, you think, I can't afford that. That's a waste of money. Stop. Never say that again. Okay. Never say I can't afford it. So feeling good, even about bills. I was taught this by this beautiful woman that used to have the Unity Church here in Dallas many years ago. She says, when you get those bills, think about that service that they delivered to you and think about it in gratitude. Thank God they have that service that I love giving money for, because I'm in such gratitude for what they gave me. That's where we have to come from bills. You know, when you get your electric bill, oh my God, don't you hate it when your electricity goes out? It's a nightmare. So be an appreciation that they gave you this ability to have that wonderful service. So when you pay your bills, pay them with gratitude, feel good about them. And I want everyone here to get rid of your worry about money. You're going to have all the money in the world if you eradicate the fear and get rid of poverty consciousness. That is the worst consciousness. You're never going to get where you want to be and have and enjoy life if you're in poverty consciousness. And so many metaphysical people are there. And we've got to come from a place. You know, Rhonda Byrne that did The Secret, she was struggling and all these money problems. You know how much money really and truly she made from The Secret? This is a fact. $500 million. That was the power of shifting her consciousness from poverty consciousness to prosperity. Yeah, overnight, that movie and the book got her there. And yeah, she did it. So I don't want you to ever think anything's impossible, because that's your limitation thinking that. Think about what she manifested. Another thing, don't discuss bad news. I know we kind of like that. It's kind of fun sometimes. I'm pretty bad at that. I don't know about you. It's kind of fun. Yeah. Isn't that terrible? You see the stuff in politics and all that. Don't discuss that anymore. And that's hard for us not to do. And another thing, I don't want to hear complaints. Don't complain. Don't judge. You know, when you're judging someone else, that's really what you're seeing that's about you. So remember that when you start to judge other people. I know other people are going to be judgmental. Just get away from them. That's the best thing you can do. And another thing is desire everything, but need nothing. Okay. So what we desire, we manifest, and we don't need anything. It's just joy and happiness and beauty. One thing I do want to share with you guys, I was cleaning out my closet, you know, getting rid of old things. Retrograde planets are great for that. And I ran across a letter I wrote on New Year's Eve about what I wanted to manifest about, gosh, this had to be at least 10 years ago. Very first thing on that list was I wanted to manifest a beautiful dream home. And I'm looking at this list and I manifested it all. Even the layout of the house, I said exactly the way the house I'm in right now is laid out, all around a beautiful swimming pool. So don't kid yourself. This stuff really absolutely works. Just surprised it took about that long to do it, but that's probably because I didn't believe it till it manifested, right? All of us have this power. And I want all of you to know it, okay? And, you know, it gets better than just worrying about houses. Things are, you know, as we open up, I believe, our third eye, we're going to start wanting higher minded things than just material things. And the material things will be there, but we're not thinking about them because we want to create purpose and meaning for others in the world. And that's where it's going to take us eventually, where, you know, we help illuminate and help others and come from a place of, you know, spiritual growth as well. So here are the things I want to ask of you to list the things you want to manifest, because you will create them in the process of listing them. Believe, you will receive if you believe. And do it with affirmations. And last but not least, what I want to instill in all of us, the way that you're going to get the feeling essence that manifests is through the power of gratitude. So I know this is very redundant, but we all need to be reminded of this all the time. You know, I can pick up and read The Secret and read all these books over and over again. And even though I've read them 20 times, it's so important to remind ourselves of these principles because we get off track. But it looks like we're all going to be on track by the pictures that I pulled today. So we're all manifesting and we're all coming together, being on track about things now, because the flowers, the beauty, the appreciation of flowers, and the manifestation of what they're talking about coming to blossom and grow, and reaping those benefits and rewards, plus knowing when to surrender and just let go and allow but work, if that makes sense. So let's now go to this astrology. I hope everyone, it wasn't just too much repetition of what we've been talking about, but we have to be reminded. Let me just say, if you haven't manifested what you want yet, you're not following these laws. They're laws. They're laws of our physical manifestation vibrational plane. These are laws. So let me share the screen.
Joni, you're our reset every Tuesday.
Okay, thank
You're
you.
appreciated completely.
Great. I am so glad, because I know I've said all these things before, but we all need to hear them over and over and over again. So, all right, so today is January 10th, and I did it for 12 noon. And here is the chart we come up with. What's rising during this time of year is Pisces. So if you will note, throughout the year, you're going to have the same sign rising at particular times of year, depending on where you're located. So we're all setting it for here in Dallas, and Pisces is rising. Jupiter is in the first house, but it's already crossed over where Jupiter is behind the ascendant. But Jupiter's in the first. Jupiter's the teacher. It's called guru in Vedic astrology. So we're all learning. That's what this is telling us. But the ascendant in Pisces, remember this, when I think about Pisces and even the nakshatra, this is Revati that's rising. This sign, that nakshatra, are the very last ones of the entire zodiac. So that tells me we're coming to a place of completion. This is what I think's all coming about. Mars is still retrograde. It is stationing pretty much, since it's going to turn direct in 2 days. It's stopped. It's not moving pretty much, because by the 12th, it's going to be in forward direction. Right now, it's stationary. So actually, planets that are standing still, which means they stand still right before they turn direct or right before they turn retrograde, they stand still, and their essence are completely overwhelmingly powerful. If you have any planets that are stationary in your birth chart, that planet will be your most powerful planet. Believe me, this is true. So right now in the heavens, Mars is the most powerful energetic force. And I know also, when I wrote my predictions, Mars is right now out of bounds. And it's going to continue to be out of bounds till May, through May. And what is out of bounds? Well, this is and even though you that know astrology may not know this, but this is based on the declination of where a planet is. And the declination is relative to the path of the sun, called the ecliptic. So whenever a planet goes way beyond the ecliptic and it goes way out in declination is where it is relative to the ecliptic. And we gauge things from the path of the sun, from planet Earth. So declination is different. It's more or less like the latitude rather than the longitude of planets. But when a planet goes really high in declination, it's called out of bounds. And it's just exactly what it sounds like. When a planet goes out of bounds, that planet means it's out of control. So even though we just dealt with Mars being retrograde and now it's stationing, it's out of bounds. So what is Mars all about? Well, first of all, it's energy. So it does mean our energy is going to return. Yeah, we're going to have more energy, probably energy to get mad about things that haven't been working in our life. You know, when we get angry about certain things, we usually get off our butts and do something about it, right? Sometimes we're just kind of like, oh, that'll go away. I don't want to deal with that right now. But until we get angry, you know, maybe you get some past dues on a certain bill that you haven't paid attention to, and you see all that red ink in the bills that you get. That'll make you angry enough. Mars is red. Pay attention. You know, it's like the things that we need to pay attention to, they're going to come up, you know, right now for us to deal with. Now, Mars being in this particular chart is in the 3rd house, which deals with our communications. So we got to be careful with how we talk to people right now. Don't come at them with, you know, anger and force, because you're not going to get your message across. It's just going to be in vain. So that's kind of a Mars stationing but it's in the sign of Taurus. It's not necessarily a great sign for Mars to be in, but let's talk about this. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and I wanted to talk about Venus because that flower essence was telling us. So we go over here to Venus, and if you go to where K2 is in Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus and Mars is ruled by Venus. So really these two planets that deal with anger or deep-seated things. K2 is losses, things that we feel a sense of loss about. Mars is what we've been angry about. They're in the sign of Venus. So Venus plays a very important part. And I have to say Venus being over here, just by the fact that it's actually, it's approaching Saturn. Saturn's about to change signs. Thank goodness, Saturn has been just a drag in Capricorn, I gotta say, and it's at the last degree of the sign by the 17th. Yeah, it's interesting. Saturn will go into Aquarius the same day that Mercury will go direct. So pay attention on January 17th. I think you're going to find things change the way you feel and things moving forward around that day or right after that day. But Venus is approaching Saturn. Venus will eventually cross over Saturn. So we're feeling a little bit lonely. I always say that Saturn-Venus conjunctions are about loneliness. So don't look at it as lonely. Look at it as a time for you to individually go within and check out what you're feeling and what you're doing. Because Venus loves to be around people, right? Venus is the social planet. So when it comes together with Saturn, it's more about being more drawn within. But Venus being in the sign of Capricorn, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. It's the taskmaster. Capricorn is about rules and regulations. And, you know, we have to really think about what we need to be doing. That is a law. And the basic true laws are the law of spirituality. Therefore, it's the law of nature. It's the law of what the 3rd, 4th dimension is grounded on. And what is it? Vibration, energy, and frequency. So if we pay in accordance to the natural laws that we can't beat, no matter if we like them or not, this is the law of this dimension. And everything that I've been talking about with the law of attraction pertains to the law of this 3rd dimension. But we don't even understand these basic laws that deal with what we're thinking about and what we're feeling about is what we're creating in our world. We have the power to change it. That is a law. The law of attraction is the law of reality. It is the law of karma. You know, what you do, it's going to come back to you. So why would we want to do anything that's harmful if we know that's creating and manifesting our world? You know, always, you know, this is the law of manifestation. This is the law of our universe, our physical reality. And we, with the conscious awareness, can be in control of it. That's kind of what I think. I know that's a long-winded explanation for Venus and Capricorn, but Capricorn is very, very rule-oriented, you know, almost, you know, I don't like rules. You know, personally, here I always, my husband one time said I'm the most rebellious person he knows. So to give you an idea about that. But just being an astrologer is rebellious, in my opinion, because people think, oh, that can't make sense. That's nonsense. I'm like, let me prove it to you. It's not nonsense. It's probably why I do all the work I do, just to prove that astrology is really a reality. Anyway, getting back to rules. We have to understand we can't escape the rules of this dimension. But at least I laid out the rules. And these are rules that are easy to follow and make us happy and are going to change our life. So Venus in Capricorn, flowers, all about the rules that we're here to manifest our goals with. This is how I see Venus in Capricorn. And Mercury being with, well, Mercury's with the sun, but they're both still in Sagittarius, which is the sign of rules and spirituality, and most of all, the truth and freedom. That's what Sagittarius is all about. We're free to choose. We've always had our free will, and free will to choose what is part of the natural laws of nature, which we've been talking about. This is what we have choices with. And all of this absolutely works. I'm proof by writing down what I wanted to manifest. That very first thing that was so important to me, I manifested because I visualized it. I believed it. I knew it would happen, and it happened. And all of this for all of us is a fact. Remember this, I think all of us here are very aware, you can't change other people. So don't do that with these laws. You can't impose your beliefs on others, but by working on yourself, remember the people that you attract are going to be mirror images of you. So that's why you want to change yourself if you want to change others. Because you're going to vibrate with a whole different frequency and attract those, or the people that you've been wanting to change so dearly, they'll change because they're going to be more of a reflection of you. So remember, you have the power and you can't impose that on other people ever. So this is Mars being there in the third house can deal with how we communicate and connect to other people. The thing that I didn't talk about is where the moon is. That is really, really important. Now, we had the full moon a couple of days ago, and I don't know about you, but that full moon was very emotional. I talked to so many people that said they cried their eyes out during that full moon. And I felt it too. I felt a sense of loneliness during that full moon, and a sadness of some sort. Can't explain it. It was in the nakshatra Purnavasu, which is return of the light, which means, you know what, we're all making major comebacks from that full moon. Everything that we were upset about, angry about, sad about, we're making a major comeback in our life. This is the start of something new. These retrogrades are teaching us, and we're going to be full force when they're good. Do you realize that in February, every single planet will be direct? All of them, even the outer planets, even Uranus. Uranus is about to go direct in a few days too. So every planet will be direct. What does that tell us? That it's time to move forward and manifest. Now, the moon being here in Leo, Leo is the king. Leo is leadership. Leo is ruler, the rule. And it's even in the nakshatra Maga, which symbol is a throne. So this is really, really powerful. And I find it fascinating that the moon sits at 7 degrees. When I pulled this up, I'll tell you why. I just got through writing my predictions for February. And what I talk about is, even in February, everything's moving towards, there's actually going to be the full moon, or is it the new moon? Let me think here. It's going to be the new moon. The new moon in February will be in Aquarius at 7 degrees. That's kind of interesting that I pulled up this with 7 degrees. So this marks something very important with 7 degrees. And not to get into all the politics and things that I see unfolding, I think all of y'all get my newsletter, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's so interesting to me that the United States of America's moon in their birth chart on the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the moon sits at 7 degrees Aquarius. And that's going to be where the new moon hits in February. This is 7 degrees of Leo. So it means everything kind of I've been talking about is going to come to fruition. Why do I think that 7-degree marking is so important? Because for the United States are about to go into Sati Sati, which those of you that don't know astrology, that's when Saturn comes to where the moon is in a chart. And Saturn's about to cross over in March, the degree of the United States moon. Not to mention President Biden has his K2 there. So what that all means, that 7 degrees and coming up in this chart, something's about to change big time. And it's going to be phenomenal change. And it's time. Everybody's been everybody since we've had that darn virus, it's changed our world, but we have to think about it as something positive is coming out of all of this. I think that virus is waking us up to how we've been living our lives before. It's a big wake up. Everything is an opportunity for growth. Don't forget that. So the virus, I don't know about you guys, but people became more interested in learning, more interested in, just growth, going within, staying at their homes, being closer to their families, not having to go to work. That was interesting. It changed the whole dynamic that people now get to work at home more. I think that's incredibly positive. So we got to look at how everything has changed for what is it here to teach us as a positive, as an opportunity. So I think we're becoming much more aware of the opportunities that I shouldn't have called it a darn virus. Somehow it was a blessing. Yeah, it took a lot of people out, which is very, very, very sad. But that's mainly because of the fear that it initiated. And I think fear is the driving force of negativity. And really, I don't know anybody that didn't fear what was going on that died of the virus. So we got to come from a place of recognizing opportunity and have no fear, and come from a place of leadership. And, with Leo, in your life, be a leader. Don't be afraid to take charge. That is so Leo and Lion. Leo, the reason why Leo is after a lion, because the lion is the king of the jungle. And no one is an enemy to the lion. I think the elephant's the same thing. That's why there's actually in Vedic astrology a yoga. That's the Gajakasri yoga, which is the lion elephant yoga, because they're both the kings of the jungle and they don't have any enemies. So that's Leo. But did you know that Leo is the essence of the heart energy? So, people talk about the sign Leo, especially from Western astrology, being the sign of, people that are egotistical. But actually, Leo rules the heart because it's ruled by the sun, and the sun rules the heart. And Leo emits this essence of warmth and love and the heart energy. So I love Leo planets, especially in Vedic astrology, because when I read Linda Goodman's sun signs back in the 70s, all she talked about was Leo being, they're leaders, but they give this essence of them being self-centered. Because I think she said, because remember this, all the planets revolve around the sun. So Leo thinks everyone revolves around them. Yeah, that can be kind of true sometimes. But don't forget the warmth and the energy of the heart. Because in essence, what's the message that I came up with in meditation today? It's always about the heart energy. The heart and love is the energy that heals above everything and all else. So remember that. And when we come from a place of gratitude, we are coming from the heart. And those are the key essences that we can change our life. So that's a lot to get out of the moon being in Leo today. But, you know, I just channeled what the universe told me to tell you guys. So anyone want to add to the astrology before we close today?
I'm just glad that Mars is almost direct and that I'm a Leo ascendant.
I
You
love
know I'm
it.
Western, right? So in Vedic, I'm a Leo.
In,
So I like that.
in Vedic, you're Leo?
Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah.
That counts more in my book.
And you know what's funny though is that with the what you were just saying, I am the only female in my house. I have all boys, grandsons, everything. Just and you know, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that too.
yeah, that is fabulous. I love boys. I have 3 sons and they're fabulous. So I thought I wanted a girl, but I'm so glad I had boys, even though I had to sit through all those obnoxious games my whole life. But anyway, all the football and basketball. Basketball was okay because it was indoors, wasn't it? But soccer.
So we did hockey and lacrosse. So I was cold. At least one was inside in only 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
that one was good.
Okay, well, thank you for contributing, Marcy. That's great. I love that you're Leo rising. My moon's in Leo, so that's yeah. Anyone else want to add anything else?
I could add that I found the information you told about Mercury retrograde in this other light, like time to reflect and all that, and kind of go within, immensely helpful, because
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by astrology people who are only seeing like the dangerous, so to say, aspect of it, or complicated aspect. So I think you spoke very beautifully about that today. So I really got something new.
Great. Great. Well,
Yeah.
astrology is like the ebb and flow of the tides. This is what I always relate to retrograde planets. When they move forward, the tide pull goes out. But when they go retrograde, the tide pulls back. And that's just so much a part of our world cycles. You know, you can't always push forward. You got to reflect and bring time in. And, you know, it's like, when Mercury's retrograde, it's difficult to travel because it rules traveling, and you know, plans get all screwy. But it's a great time to go on vacation, because once you get to your destination, what do we do on vacation but we reflect about our life and relax and think. It's not like you're pushing forward. So I always tell people, you know, bear with it, go someplace, you can go on vacation, Mercury's retrograde, just know that getting there may be a problem, but once you get there, it's perfect. So I'm so glad you got something out of, you know, there is no such thing as bad energy. It's all cyclic and it all teaches us something. So yeah, and when a planet is retrograde in Vedic astrology, we say that retrograde planets are more powerful. And they are, because essentially when they're retrograde, they're closer to the earth. Therefore, their essence and their energy is what we need to look at. So when they go retrograde, whatever that planet's about, that's the time to look at it and understand it and realize what it's here to teach us. So it's not bad energy. So even though sometimes it's not, you know, it's something we may not want to look at, but hey, it's going to heal us and make us better if we agree to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's one other thing I like to share with manifestation on money. When you were speaking about feeling abundant and all of that, I have a very affluent friend who always repeat these words.
Which words?
Am I still on? Okay, you all disappeared, but okay, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, so he always say, and I have made a translation from Finnish.
Okay.
I tried to make it correctly in English. The inflow of money is unstoppable. And he repeats this all the time. And he says also, you cannot stop the inflow of money.
Yeah.
And at some point, I thought it was something totally outrageous to say that the inflow of money is unstoppable. But when I look at his life and the way he kind of repeats this almost like a joke, I just wanted to share it with you. Maybe it's
Well, that's why he's
struck a chord with someone.
that's why he's affluent, you know, and that's why he has money, because he's saying that over and over again, and he's manifested it, and we can do that too. So he knows the law of attraction, whether he knows it or not. Okay, so yeah, thank you for that, Sophia. That was great for people to understand how this really works. Yes, know it. So yes, so
And it's okay for you to want the things you want to have in your life.
exactly. Like what did I say? Desire everything but need nothing.
I just want to add, because I think this was such a positive, really powerful class today, and I really just wanted to thank you. I'm going to talk to you because you and I have a reading scheduled for next week or the following week, so I'm excited about that. But I do have Mars and Mercury in retrograde, and so a friend of mine said the other day, well, this must be very comfortable energy for you. But honestly, since October, I feel like it's been really heavy. So I'm excited to imagine that things are going to lighten up and get more positive, and that February things are moving forward. And I just found today really encouraging. And I really appreciate, even though, as you said, sometimes you know these things, just hearing them, and you put so much positive, energy when you talk about it, and it's palpable. So I just thank you.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Good. I look forward to talking to you in the reading. But if you've got those planets retrograde in your birth chart, then when these planets go retrograde, it's going to bring out what that's all about in your chart. So yeah. So I'm glad you
All right.
mentioned that. We're going to do
You'll help me understand it better. I'm excited.
Yes, I absolutely will. Thank you so much, Deborah. So anyone else want to add anything to what's coming up, or what we talked about today?
I just have to say it's been working for me totally. So it absolutely 100% has been working. And
I love it.
you saying that we needed to get the power all at the same time, I think created a bond in this class. Before it was kind of like just a different speaker, and they were all great. I'm not cutting that, but it's like now we're all centered on the same energy, and that has so much like momentum to it. And so even though we may not feel like we're moving light speed ahead when we come together every week, for me it's the reset, because it's the reminder of how to continue to stay focused on those things and to get out of your own way, because I've had so many things I want. Believe me, it's all over the place. And honestly, I've been receiving so much, and I am so grateful for it. And it's like, you have to peel yourself out of this excitement that you get in, because that's when is when you're in that higher vibration.
Right.
And I can relate to this back, like this moon thing that happened the other day. Dan and I got into an argument, which we never argue, and it was so out of the blue. And we got into a pretty good fight about it. And I was just like, to be able to step back and talk about heart energy, and that's what it was. So like I said, everything in this astrology is like, it just truly speaks to what we're all supposed to kind of work through, come in touch with, unpeel that onion, get down, and then truly just expect that the things that you really want will happen, because it will. And I'm redoing my kitchen right now, And I had always wanted to do my kitchen, and the appliances kind of landed in my lap at a really good deal. And I was like, I have to do this. And not that I have time to do it, but I'm super excited. And doing the things that make you excited help, like, you know, stepping into that excitement so that you can continue to want to receive those things. So I just, like I said, I continue want to tell you, Joni, I know it falls flat when you go quiet and you're waiting for someone to talk, but I want you to know how much it means to me, and I'm sure to everybody else, that I'm grateful, and it has made a difference, and it continued to. So please don't stop ever doing this, because I love this Tuesday. So
Good. Oh God, that's music to my ears. Thank you. And the fact that you're so grateful, you know, manifests more for us and makes this continue on. And you know, I'm excited that you're excited and you're grateful, because I know it's only going to snowball into something bigger. Mhm.
yeah, you feel it. It's like you're connected to it.
And like we say, when you feel something, you manifest it.
Yep. And
So I'm
I
glad
shared,
you feel it.
I shared the prayer of the rain example with my kids day before yesterday at dinner. And I said, you know, this is something that we learned in our class last week. And I just said how wonderful it was. And I think everybody got it, you know, not everybody's on the same page, but I really think everybody kind of looked at it like, oh, that's cool, you know? And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what it should feel like.
Yeah.
So you're making progress with us. Believe me, you are. So
Well, trust me, it's mutual, because I do this for us and me, because I need all these lessons just as much as everyone else. So it's and the universe guides me. I don't even know what picture is going to be pulled from the stack, but it's always relative to what we need to know. And I love the flower essence. Yes, this makes me feel so positive about what we're going to be creating in the future. So good. All right. Any last words about anything?
Yeah.
Joni,
I'd like
have
to
you-
add that, oh, sorry. Go
No.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Joni, have you ever worked with flower essences? Because I do, and like how they're a little bit different than essential oils is that it helps raise our vibration.
Mhm.
The essences will actually, like, so I'll use like anointing oils or sprays, and I'll help like raise the vibration so that we're more in a higher vibration and like a vibration of love, so that we can actually like manifest what we want.
Yeah, that's a good
Look,
point.
I bought some of hers.
Yeah. What was that? Somebody else said something. No, I definitely believe in flower essences, and I've worked with them, but I haven't in a while. Maybe that's something I need to look at again. As a matter of fact, one of my students sent me a ton of flower essences. I'm gonna start using all of those again. Yes.
Is it the what is it? Shakti Kai? Is it the one from Hawaii? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been using some of her stuff, like, because they sell it. There's like a Dallas outfit, but then I just bought like a whole bunch that just came yesterday that I'm so excited about, and it like works.
Wow. Well, she sent
Yeah.
me a huge package. So sweet, complimentary, just sent it to me. I'm like, I need to start. I didn't know which one to start with, but there's so
What are they called? Can you put it in the comments? Because I've never heard of those.
Yeah, Tori, can you put it in? I don't have a bottle of it in here. Do you?
Yeah, I can and next week I'll like bring a bottle or something, but it's called like Shakti Kai, Kai. And it's from like Hawaii. And so some of them have flower essences, some of them have gem like crystal essences in them. But like I've been working with the Plumiera, which is like for the heart.
Yeah.
And the prosperity, which is like for Jupiter. The cool thing is she has like a whole line geared around like the planets. So if there's a certain
Yes.
planet you want to work with too.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Did you meet her through the university?
no, you talked about her, and then I went to the Health Collective here in Dallas and I saw it, and I kept like being really pulled, and I was like, no, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna try this. And then I did, and it's been really cool.
That is so amazing. Yeah, I think she's a doctor too, as well. Yeah. She's she's like a doctor, and then she does all the flower essences, and she does them for resorts, like, you know, Four Seasons and stuff like that too. But anyway, it's amazing. Good. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Somebody else wanted to say something?
Well, talking about flowers, Rhonda Burns buys flowers once a week.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me of that. I actually forgot. Yeah, she always mentions that in her writing in her books, that she buys flowers once a week. That is just, you know, when you consider that you're doing that, you got to know you're coming from a place of prosperity, because you think, oh, these are going to die. Why am I doing that? No, that's coming from a place of prosperity. So thank you for reminding us that Rhonda Byrne does that, because look what she manifested. And, you know, she's got to be happy doing this work because she's helping so many people, you know? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell that I have never bought flowers for myself ever. They had to either be a plant or something that was going to live. And I've never bought cut flowers. And I was at the store last week and I bought myself this huge bouquet of flowers because I said, you know what? I deserve those flowers because I love them. I think they're so pretty. And so I bought them and I brought them home and I didn't have any regrets. And then when you were talking about that today, I said, that's so funny. And then I wrote down that, you know, people say, oh, no, when I have the money, I'll buy the flowers. But then you got to say to yourself, no, I'm going to buy the flowers now to remind me that I do have the money.
Exactly.
That I can afford it now. And it's not like I'm going to give up something. I can afford it. And maybe, you know, I might think that I can't afford it, but I can. So just put the priority in there. And then after a while, it's just going to start to build. And I even got compliments because my sister-in-law came over and she says, oh, I love the flowers.
I know. I mean, I just realized this today while I was talking about it, to be honest with you, you know, because here I am, like you, I'm wanting to buy a flower that lasts, right? Instead of replenishing flowers, because that means we're coming from a mindset of prosperity. It's such a revelation. Let's all keep flowers, beautiful flowers like Rhonda Byrne, to create prosperity in our lives and the beauty that it represents. It's just it's incredible, the natural beauty of this world. So that reminds us and stays us hooked into the positive thoughts and manifestation that we are. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else want to close with any closing thoughts or anything?
Thank you. I just feel so much better. I've been struggling, not gonna lie, for almost 2 months. So thank you. I just feel a lot better. Thank you.
Good. You guys are a godsend to me. So we're all doing this together. Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right. I guess nobody else has anything else to add. And just remember that picture of those flowers when you feel a little down and out this week. And remember what I said about the retrogrades going forward. Everything's going to go forward. February, nothing's retrograde. So take what you've learned, apply it to your life, and your life is going to get so much better and everything's going to move forward. So don't look back. Like, remember those ships, those sailboats, they're sailing along. They're not looking back, they're moving forward, and all of us will. So with that, I'll close. Thank you, everyone. Oh, you got a flower essence, Marcy? Wow, fantastic.
They're from Tori. They're from Tori.
So you've got the name of it there, right?
Well, I've got Tori's. Hers are her own. These are.
Oh, well, you got to tell us about yours, Tori.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so my friend and I, like, before, like, I became a Reiki practitioner, and then all these things happened. But so my friend makes these Reiki infused, and they also have gem essences, and it's essential oils. But so we came together and made space clearing kits, and so there's spray. One is to like raise your vibration, and then the other one is to just like give you energy. So one I say is like saging, and the other is like Palo Santoing. So one is like clearing and cleansing, And then the other one is like putting positivity and bringing abundance into your life. So
Tori,
I was,
what's
yeah.
your website? Put it in the chat right now, your website.
Oh yeah, I will. It's my name, Tori Sachs. Very simple. So I'll put it, and that's my Instagram too. But yeah, so Marcy and I were talking, and I was like, oh well, have you ever thought about using sprays instead of just like
Yes,
burning something? So
Good.
Yeah, the smoke is like too much sometimes in this house. So this was like the best alternative.
Mhm. And you know, I have this little diffuser too. I would imagine you can just put drops in that diffuser, right, Tori? That puts out the mist and you put drops in it. That would be, you know, put that vibration in the air, I would imagine.
yes. So it's funny, I started a podcast a couple months ago. I need to like get back to the episodes, but that's what I say. Like you can use other forms to help cleanse and clear. So you could, if again, like burning is really hard for you or your family, you could diffuse because you're invoking all your senses. So you're like changing your vibration by like smelling something. Like I'll tell people, they say like smelling sweet orange is really good to bring in abundance. Lemon is really great for freshness too. So like whatever it, the whole idea is that if you're having like a low moment or you're feeling heavy, to bring something in to help change that frequency and vibration, whether it's like smell or tactile or music or moving.
Well, you know what I just thought about yesterday is, you know, how we talk about vibration and sound and music changes our moods. Well, think about that sense of smell. When we smell something, it can take us back, you know, 30 years when we smelt that the last time. So these are all, you know, dealing with, like you say, changing our vibrational frequency. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Okay. This has been great. Thanks. Thank you all for sharing, because it's just as important that you share as I speak. So thank you. Thank you. It just, you know, we're doing the energy of giving and receiving in this class, and that's what life is about. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you next Tuesday. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait. Isn't there next week?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, there's one day, yeah, y'all hold on. There's one day, Shri asked me, there was 5 Tuesdays.
next
So
week.
it's next week, right?
Yeah, no class.
Perfect, because I'm getting back, I'm going to Santa Fe for the weekend, and I'll be back on Monday. So Tuesday, I'll be able to decompress.
Yeah.
And then we'll meet the week after. So thank you, Marcy, for reminding me. I forgot.
Well, I'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, good. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
I'm with Deborah.
All right. All right. Namaste,
Bye, guys.
everyone.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.